Hey, I'm Dr. Yaz, and today we're talking about what causes leaky gut and 4 reasons you may not be expecting that are causing it. And I really, when I was thinking about doing this as a podcast episode, I was thinking about if I even wanted to go there because leaky gut is such a hot topic now. And there's a lot of, gastroenterologists and other, functional practitioners going over this topic these days. But when it comes to diabetes, not addressing it isn't fair to you. And I was thinking about, when I'm out with my friends, and so many people say, I have IBS, I have IBD, I have gas, I have this or that. And the question is, do you have leaky gut, and is it something that you can fix? So I said, you know what, let's go ahead, let's get into this. Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the Vitality Prescription. Dr. Yaz here. And today we're talking about something that I hear about a lot in my office, really, leaky gut. And I'll be honest, before med school and before residency, I didn't really hear about it. I didn't know what leaky gut was. It wasn't something that I grew up talking about. But now I do. And leaky gut is something that a lot more of us are struggling than I realized. And now in my office, I hear about it at least probably 4 or 5 times a day from my clients and my patients. And so today I really want to dive into it because for diabetics, gut health is so crucial for good glucose control. So I really want to dive into exactly what it is, what causes it, and maybe the connections you're missing so that you can reverse it. All right, so first things first, let's define what we mean by leaky gut. So leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability occurs when the lining of the stomach becomes damaged, allowing toxins, undigested food particles, and bacteria to pass into the bloodstream. And this can trigger inflammation and immune responses that may contribute to various health issues, including diabetes. So research suggests that individuals with diabetes may have a higher prevalence of leaky gut, which makes total sense, right? Because we know diabetes is a state of inflammation, and we have episodes on inflammation and how diabetes causes that in other episodes. But what you need to understand is when we're already like this and we have this inflammation causing this permeability in the gut, this absolutely exacerbates insulin resistance and complicates diabetes management. So a study published in the Journal of Diabetes Research found that individuals with type 2 diabetes had significantly higher levels of intestinal permeability markers compared to those without diabetes. And the presence of lipopolysaccharides in the bloodstream was also associated with worse glycemic control. So I get into that study just for the point that you know that this absolutely applies to you if you're diabetic and it's not managed, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is what causes leaky gut in diabetics. And I'm going to highlight 4 surprising reasons that you may not have thought of. The first, a diet high in processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats can disrupt the gut microbiome and damage the intestinal lining. In a study in diabetes care, it showed that diets high in refined carbs were associated with increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes and higher intestinal permeability. So my advice for you on that is really simple. Focus on whole foods based in diet rich, full of fiber, lean proteins, healthy fats that support good gut health. Which, by the way, is what we focus on in our book on the anti-inflammatory diet. It's basically that, right? A whole food diet with less processed foods, lower in sugar. The other thing is chronic inflammation. Yes, we know diabetes itself comes with low-grade inflammation, which can weaken the gut barrier. So we want to decrease the inflammation in every other way we can as a diabetic. So research published in Diabetes Journal indicated that inflammatory cytokines can contribute to increased intestinal permeability and are common in individuals with type 2 diabetes. So if we can reduce with our diet the inflammation and work on things like stress management or regular exercise, all these things can support gut integrity. So speaking of stress, psychological stress can impact our gut health. So stress basically triggers cortisol, okay? And this alters our gut permeability. There's a study in the American Journal of Gastroenterology that found chronic stress was associated with increased intestinal permeability in both animal models and humans. So if you can incorporate mindfulness or relaxation exercises, this can absolutely benefit your gut health. One thing I want to say is, doing things like meditation really stresses you out in the beginning. Do something else that doesn't stress you out. Even if it's honestly, listening to music or watching TV. If it's not stressing you out and it's making you calm, go for it. The other thing I want to talk about is antibiotic use. Antibiotic use is very, very prevalent in our country. If someone comes to the doctor, and as a doctor, I'm guilty of this too. If a patient comes to me being sick for weeks, and really wants antibiotics, usually we're going to offer you antibiotics. And the problem is that this can disrupt the gut microbiome, leading to imbalances that promote leaky gut. So I'm not saying don't take medications, when you need them. I think we're in a culture where people just have antibiotics on hand. And so the minute they feel a sniffle, they go for the antibiotic. And, research, shows that antibiotics can kill beneficial gut bacteria, which leads to dysbiosis and increased permeability. And we've talked about, dysbiosis in the gut before. What it really means is just more unhealthy bacteria compared to healthy bacteria. So basically, you want to use your antibiotics judiciously and focus on restoring gut health with probiotics and fermented foods post-treatment if you do need them. So when it comes to diabetic management, you really want to understand the causes of leaky gut and how to manage it. So example, we talked about how increased intestinal permeability leads to the translocation of bacteria and endotoxins into the bloodstream, which we know directly hurts insulin resistance, like we talked about with the lipopolysaccharides in the blood correlating with insulin resistance and poor glycemic control. So this has been studied extensively, and there's a nice comprehensive review, which we'll link below, that show that interventions targeting gut health, including probiotics and dietary changes, could improve insulin sensitivity and glycemic control, showing that something without any medications could absolutely help you. So as usual, in this podcast, we love to talk about how we can make this practical, okay? So for the healthy diet, you're going to focus on the whole foods, fruit, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats. You're going to avoid processed foods and added sugars. Okay? And then you're going to consider something maybe like a probiotic to help restore gut flora balance. There's a meta-analysis that showed probiotics are effective in reducing the intestinal permeability in various populations. You may want to do this naturally as well with fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi. I love using something like a miso paste that also helps. Whenever I make a salad dressing, I'll use miso paste instead of my traditional mustard because it benefits my microbiome in my gut. So what do I mean by detoxifying the body, right? Well, what I mean is the reality is our food industry has failed us and our world is full of toxins. And so detoxifying your body from these toxins is absolutely crucial if you want to stop leaky gut. This includes, substances like heavy metals, pesticides, chemicals in our processed foods. There's a study published in Environmental Health Perspectives, and this showed how reducing exposures to these toxins absolutely impact our gut health. The other thing is you want to stay hydrated. Proper hydration is crucial. I tell people aim for half their weight in body ounces of water to maintain healthy digestion and good gut lining for good integrity of the gut. Water facilitates the transport of nutrients and the elimination of waste, so we need it. We want to limit stress on the body. This could be psychological stress that's emotionally affecting us, but also physiological stress, like we said, from those toxins. So maybe things like yoga, meditation, deep breathing. All these things can improve gut symptoms in patients with leaky gut and diseases like IBS, which is just another testament to that strong mind-gut connection. The other thing is physical activity. See, exercise has absolutely been shown to have beneficial effects on the gut health and metabolic function. And this shows that, basically, with physical activity, we can enhance the gut microbiome, which is crucial for maintaining gut integrity. So as we conclude today's episode, remember that managing leaky gut is an essential part of overall diabetes management. And by addressing your dietary choices, inflammation, stress, antibiotic use, you can absolutely take significant steps toward improving your gut health and in turn your diabetes management. So definitely talk to your provider about this and get started right away. And if I have one RX for you, just get whole foods and go for a walk. That alone can help your leaky gut. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next.